My name is Elfang, I'm 28 years old, and I've been married for 3 years. If it weren't for that misdialed phone call, I might never have known that my seemingly perfect husband, Rieschen, had long betrayed our marriage. That night at 10 o'clock, I was in the study organizing the company's financial statements. Rieschen said he was working overtime and hadn't returned yet. Suddenly, the phone rang, and the caller ID showed Ries. I picked up the phone with confusion, ready to ask him when he would be home. "Sweetheart, did you miss me?" Rieschen's voice came through the phone, tender to the core, a gentleness I hadn't heard in a long time. I froze for a moment, about to respond, when I heard him continue. "Last night at the hotel, you said you wanted a child. I'll come back to be with you tonight." My blood ran cold. Last night, hotel, child, last night. Rieschen was clearly at home. We even had an argument because he was on his phone late into the night. I held my breath, my fingers gripping the phone tightly. "Honey," a coquettish female voice came through the phone. "I just finished showering. Come back soon, okay?" The woman's voice was youthful, laced with a playful, pleading tone. I heard Rieschen chuckle deeply. "All right, I'll be right there. By the way, I'll make up an excuse for a business trip tomorrow. We can go to that seaside resort you've always wanted to visit." "Really? That's amazing. I love you so much." The woman exclaimed excitedly. "I love you too, Lena." Lena. I remembered this name. After the call ended, I noticed my hands were trembling. 3 years of marriage turned out to be a joke. I got up and walked to the living room, looking at our wedding photo on the wall. In the picture, Rieschen held me close, smiling so brightly as if I were the most precious treasure in the world. And now, he's saying "I love you" to another woman. I sat on the sofa, trying hard to calm myself down. There are 2 options now. First, confront him directly, have a big fight, and then get divorced. Second, secretly gather evidence and make him pay the price he deserves. I choose the latter, since he chose to betray. Then don't blame me for being ruthless. At 11:30, Rieschen returned. He walked in and saw me sitting in the living room, looking somewhat uneasy. Why aren't you asleep yet?" He came over, trying to kiss my forehead. I dodged to the side, waiting for you to come back. "Working overtime this late today?" "Yeah, this project is quite urgent." His gaze seemed a bit evasive. "By the way, I might have to go on a business trip for a few days tomorrow, to Shenzhen for some collaboration talks." On a business trip, just as he said on the phone earlier. I nodded. "All right, I got it. Then I'll go take a shower." He quickly walked toward the bedroom. I watched his retreating figure, sneering inwardly. Taking a shower, to wash off another woman's scent. I took out my phone and checked the call log. The recent call showed a duration of 3 minutes and 21 seconds, and the contact name was indeed Ries. In other words, he meant to call that Lena but accidentally dialed me instead. The heavens are truly on my side. While Rieschen was taking a shower, I secretly checked the pockets of his coat. Sure enough, I found a hotel keycard that read Shangri-La Hotel, room 1203. There was also a shopping receipt showing he had bought a women's necklace at the mall this afternoon, priced at $800, an $800 necklace. He's never bought one for me. I took photos of the evidence with my phone and then put everything back in place. Rieschen came out of the shower looking in a good mood and even took the initiative to hug me. "Honey, I'll be away on a business trip these few days. Take good care of yourself at home." His words sounded caring. But I knew his heart was with another woman. "Yeah, you too," I said flatly. He thought I knew nothing, so he acted especially tender, even taking the initiative to kiss me. I suppressed my disgust and played along with his act. "Since you want to put on a show, I'll see it through with you to the end." Lying in bed, I listened to Rieschen's breathing beside me while my mind raced with thoughts about the next steps of my plan. I needed to find that woman named Lena, gather more evidence, and make them pay the price. 3 years ago, I gave up my career to take care of this family, to support his work, even using the 1 million yuan dowry from my parents to help him start his business. And he was secretly keeping another woman behind my back. In that case, don't blame me for turning my back on you. This war has only just begun. Early the next morning, Rieschen indeed packed his luggage for the business trip. I was making breakfast in the kitchen, appearing calm as usual. But inside, I was calculating my next move. "Darling, I'm off." Rieschen came over with his suitcase and gave me a kiss. "Take care on the road," I said with a smile. "When will you be back?" "Probably 3 or 4 days, depending on how work goes." I nodded and watched him leave. After his car drove away, I immediately sprang into action. First, I needed to find out who this Lena was. I opened Rieschen's computer. His password was my birthday. A detail that had once moved me deeply but now seemed bitterly ironic. I went through his chat logs, emails, and photo folders but found nothing suspicious. It seems he's very cautious, keeping all his secrets hidden in his phone. I remember last night when he was showering, he left his phone on the dresser. But I didn't have time to check it. Since I can't find anything directly, I'll have to try a different approach. I took out that hotel keycard and decided to go check the scene first. The Shangri-La Hotel is not far from our home, just a 20-minute drive away. I sat down in the cafe across from the hotel, ordered a coffee, and watched the hotel's entrances and exits. After waiting for over an hour, I finally saw the person I wanted to see. Rieschen got out of a taxi, accompanied by a young girl. The girl looked to be at most 23 or 24 years old, with long flowing hair, wearing a white dress, and clinging to Rieschen's arm like a little bird. She was Lena. I took out my phone and quickly snapped a few photos. After they entered the hotel, I waited for 10 minutes before going in myself. "Hello, I'm a friend of the guest in room 1203. He asked me to go up and meet him," I said to the front desk. The receptionist politely replied, "Please contact the guest in the room to confirm." "Okay." I pretended to make a call, then said, "He's in the shower," and told me to go straight up. The front desk remained cautious. "I'm sorry, but we need confirmation from the guest themselves." I knew this path wouldn't work, so I changed my strategy. I sat down in the hotel lobby, pretending to wait for someone while actually watching the elevator indicator light for the 12th floor. Around 3 p.m., I saw the elevator come down from the 12th floor, and Rieschen walked out with that girl. I immediately stood up and followed them. They got into Rieschen's car, and I followed from a distance in my own vehicle. First, they went to the mall and spent half an hour in a jewelry store. When they came out, the girl was wearing a new necklace around her neck, likely the one Rieschen had bought the day before. Then, they dined at an upscale restaurant, behaving intimately, just like a couple deeply in love. From my car outside the restaurant, I captured all of this on camera. At 5 in the afternoon, they returned to the hotel. This time, I didn't follow them inside but drove home instead, starting to organize the evidence collected today. Photos, videos, times, and locations. I recorded everything in detail. But this wasn't enough. I needed more direct evidence. In the evening, I received a WeChat message from Rieschen. "Just arrived in Shenzhen. Everything's going well. Miss you." Accompanying the message was a photo of Shenzhen's nightscape. I replied with a cold smile, "Miss you too. Don't work too hard." Then I used the image search function to check the nightscape photo he sent. Sure enough, it was downloaded from the internet. Lies upon lies. I began to formulate a more detailed plan. Tomorrow, I'll go to Rieschen's company to gather information from his colleagues. Given Rieschen's personality, it's impossible for him to hide his infidelity flawlessly. There must be some traces left. Additionally, I need to find a way to get close to that Lena and learn about her background. Most importantly, I need to get their hotel check-in records and chat logs. I remembered that among our mutual friends, one works at a bank and the other is a private investigator. Maybe they can help. That night, I couldn't sleep, not from sadness, but from anger. For 3 years, I gave this man the best years of my life, and he betrayed me behind my back. Since his being unkind, don't blame me for being unjust. In this war, I will make them pay a heavy price. I picked up my phone and started editing a WeChat Moments post. Severe insomnia lately, looking for a personal trainer to learn yoga. Any recommendations? After posting, friends quickly recommended several coaches, including the private investigator friend I needed. You want to learn yoga? I have a professional friend, though he's mainly doing other work now. Want me to introduce you? I immediately replied, "Sure, thank you, soon." I got the contact information of that private investigator. Tomorrow, I will officially begin my revenge plan. Rhys, you think you've covered all your tracks, but you don't realize that the person who knows you best also knows exactly how to destroy you. The next morning, I arranged to meet private investigator Zhong Jian at a coffee shop. Zhong Jian is a middle-aged man in his 40s who appears sharp and capable. Ms. Fang, Xiao Li mentioned you need my help. He got straight to the point. I didn't beat around the bush either. I suspect my husband is having an affair and need your help gathering evidence. Zhong Jian nodded. I've seen this situation many times. What leads do you have now? I showed him the photos and videos I collected yesterday. This girl is named Lena. I need to know her real identity, workplace, family background, as well as their hotel records and chat history. Zhong Jian carefully examined the photo. This girl looks very young, like a student. I'll first check her identity, then find a way to obtain the hotel check-in records. As for the chat records, we'll need to wait for the right opportunity. How long will it take? Give me 3 days, Zhong Jian said. But you should prepare yourself mentally. Sometimes the truth is more brutal than you imagine. I sneered. No matter how brutal it is, I just want the truth. I left the cafe and drove to Rhys' company. Rhys works as a creative director at an advertising agency, which is relatively small with just over 30 employees. I went to the office under the pretense of delivering afternoon tea for everyone, taking the opportunity to chat with his colleagues. Is Mr. Shen on a business trip? I asked his assistant, Xiao Chen, pretending not to know. Yeah, I went to Shenzhen yesterday, said there was a big project to discuss. Xiao Chen said, Sister Fang, you're so good. Director Shen is really lucky to have a wife like you. I smiled. He's so busy with work. Of course I should care more about him. By the way, has he been very tired lately? I see him working late often. Xiao Chen thought for a moment. Not too late, mostly normal working hours, but there is indeed a new project recently that's quite urgent, might require frequent business trips. My heart stirred. A new project. What kind of project? It seems to be an annual advertisement for a jewelry brand, and the client has high requirements. Mr. Shen is personally overseeing it. Jewelry brand. I recalled Rhys taking Lena to the jewelry store yesterday. Which company is the client? I continued fishing for information. I think it's called Star Glory Jewelry or something. Xiao Chen said uncertainly. Starry Jewelry. I'll remember that. After chatting with my colleagues, I learned that Rhys has indeed been going out frequently recently, claiming to meet clients, but he never shares details about where he goes or whom he meets with his colleagues. Additionally, his recent attire has become more refined than before, and he's even switched to a new cologne. To my colleagues, these details might just seem like normal changes, but to me, they're all evidence of infidelity. I went straight to the Xingyao jewelry store after leaving the company. It's a high-end jewelry store with exquisite decor. I pretended to be shopping for jewelry and struck up a conversation with the salesperson. We're currently working on an advertising campaign. And I heard they hired a very professional ad agency. The salesperson enthusiastically explained, the creative director is young and very talented. The designs are absolutely amazing. Really, what kind of campaign is it? Centering on the theme of true love. The story of young couples is used to portray the beautiful symbolism of jewelry. The models in our store are all real couples, making the photoshoot results exceptionally natural. My heart tightened. The models are real couples. Yes. The creative director said only those truly in love can interpret the meaning of jewelry. He even participated in the shoot himself, modeling with his girlfriend. It was so sweet. Suppressing my anger, I continued to ask, does his girlfriend also work at the advertising agency? No. She seemed to be a college student, studying art, and exceptionally beautiful. Oh, and she picked out a lot of jewelry at our store, saying it was for a photo shoot. But honestly, I think it was just her boyfriend wanting to give them to her. A college student, studying art. These details perfectly matched the Lena I saw yesterday. I lingered in the jewelry store a while longer, pretending to browse the jewelry while actually observing the advertising posters in the shop. Sure enough, in the store's promotional booklet, I spotted photos of Rhys and Lena. In the photo, they were embracing each other, looking just like a real couple. And the way Rieschen looked at Lena was filled with a tenderness I had never seen before. I secretly took these photos with my phone and then calmly left the jewelry store. Sitting in the car, I finally couldn't hold back my tears. Not because of sadness, but because of anger. They didn't just cheat in a simple way, they packaged their betrayal as true love and even planned to profit from it by turning it into advertising. This is truly the ultimate insult to our marriage. I wiped away my tears and sent Zhongjian a message, sharing the information I had just learned. Soon, Zhongjian replied, "The lead is very useful, I'll speed up the investigation. Also, do you have the exact time they checked into the hotel?" "I need to check the hotel records," I thought for a moment and replied, "Between 3 and 5 p.m. yesterday, and it should be the same today." "Got it, I'll check right away." After hanging up, I drove home. On the way, I received a message from Rieschen. "In a meeting, we'll call you later." I replied with a cold laugh, "Alright. Don't overwork yourself." Then I deleted the conversation, just like he deleted his chat history with Lena. If he can act, so can I, and I'll act even better than he does. Back home, I started organizing all the evidence I had collected over the past 2 days: photos, videos, audio recordings, times, and locations. I categorized and stored them all in the cloud drive. Now I have enough evidence to prove Rieschen's infidelity, but that's not enough. I don't just want a divorce, I want them to pay a much heavier price. I want everyone to know what kind of person Rieschen is. I want to ruin his reputation in his social circle, and I want his career to suffer as well. Most importantly, I want to take back everything that belongs to me. This war has only just begun. On the morning of the 3rd day, Zhongjian sent me a detailed investigative report. Her name is Lena Wen, 21 years old, a junior at an art college. From an average family with both parents being ordinary workers, she has known Rieschen for 3 months. Starting from the jewelry advertisement project. Most crucially, Zhongjian obtained their hotel check-in records, starting 3 months ago. They checked into different hotels almost every week, totaling over 20 times. Zhongjian also discovered that Rieschen had transferred money to Lena Wen's bank account, accumulating over 80,000 yuan in 3 months. The 80,000 yuan was transferred from our joint account. In other words, he used my money to support his mistress. Looking at this evidence, my anger has reached its peak. What made me even angrier was the last message Zhongjian sent. According to my investigation, "Your husband is already preparing to move in with that female student. He viewed several apartments yesterday and plans to rent one next month." I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm. Anger won't solve anything, what I need is perfect revenge. I called Zhongjian back. "Good. Now I need you to do one last thing for me." "What is it?" "I need their chat records, especially the recent ones." Zhongjian paused for a moment. "That's quite difficult. It requires physical access to the phone." "I have a way," I said. "He's coming back tonight, and I'll find a way to get his phone." That afternoon, I received a message from Rieschen. The project negotiation went very smoothly. "I'm taking the flight home tonight." I replied, "That's great, I've prepared your favorite dishes for you." Then I went to the supermarket to buy groceries and even specially bought a bottle of red wine. Rieschen came home at 8 p.m. and seemed to be in a good mood. "Darling, did you miss me?" He hugged me and gave me a kiss on the cheek. I suppressed my disgust and smiled, saying, "Of course I missed you. Go wash your hands, I made your favorite braised pork." During dinner, I deliberately filled the wine glass to the brim. "Here's to celebrating your project's success." I raised my glass. Rieschen was delighted and drank several glasses in a row. After a few rounds of drinks, he became more talkative and began boasting about how successful this project was. You wouldn't believe it, the creative concept for this jewelry ad was amazing, and the client was extremely satisfied. I found a pair of very distinctive models, and the final shots turned out incredibly authentic. "Really? What kind of models?" I pretended to be very interested. "A very young and beautiful girl, an art student, full of spirit." The male model paired with her was also quite good. As he spoke, his gaze seemed to drift slightly. I knew the male model he was referring to was himself, but he didn't dare say it outright. "Does your company have many projects lately?" I continued fishing for information. "Not bad, But big projects like this are rare. He had drunk a bit too much and was starting to slur his words. Actually, this project. Never mind, let's not talk about work, let's talk about something else. He tried to put his arm around me, but I skillfully dodged it. You've had too much to drink, go take a shower first. I said, okay, I'll go shower, he replied, staggering to his feet. After entering the bedroom, he placed his phone on the nightstand and headed to the bathroom. The opportunity has arrived. I tiptoed into the bedroom and picked up his phone. The password was still my birthday, he hadn't changed it. I quickly opened WeChat and found the chat history with Lena Wen. He had changed Lena Wen's contact name to Baby Lena, and the chat was filled with sickening sweet nothings. Baby, you looked absolutely stunning in today's shoot. I was completely mesmerized. Stop it, don't say that. You're making me blush. I'm serious. You're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. What about your wife then? Don't mention her. We're only married in name, and there's no love left. Once this project is over, I'll divorce her, and then we can be together. Really, you're not lying to me, are you? Of course it's true. I'm already looking at houses. Once you graduate, we'll move in together. Reading this, my hands were trembling. It turns out he wasn't just cheating, but also planning to divorce and move in with that female student. I kept scrolling and saw something that made me even angrier. Sweetheart, I have to act along with my wife when I go home tomorrow. Don't be mad. Okay, I know, it's tough for you too, but it'll be over soon, right? Yeah, soon. I've already contacted a lawyer to draft the divorce agreement, so when can we settle the house? Next month. I'll figure out a way to transfer some assets first, so the loss will be smaller during the divorce. Transfer assets. I immediately took screenshots to save these chat records. Then scrolled through their transfer history. 80,000 yuan. It was indeed transferred to Lena Wen in several installments. Moreover, the most recent transfer was just yesterday, amounting to 18,000. With the note rent, he's already started paying rent for Lena Wen. I also saw them agreeing to go see the apartment tomorrow afternoon, ready to sign the rental contract. The sound of water in the bathroom stopped, indicating Rieschen was almost done showering. I quickly put the phone back in its place and quietly left the bedroom. Rieschen came out after his shower, looking much more sober. I'm a bit sleepy, I'm going to bed first, he said. Okay, you go ahead and sleep, I'll watch a bit more TV. After he fell asleep, I sent all the screenshots of the chat records I had just taken to Zhong Jian. Zhong Jian quickly replied, the evidence is sufficient enough. What do you plan to do? I thought for a moment and replied, I'm going to give them a surprise they'll never forget. Early the next morning, Rieschen mentioned he needed to go to the office to handle some matters. I knew he was actually going on a date with Lena Wen and also planning to look at houses. Go ahead, I'm going out today too, meeting a close friend for tea. I said calmly, okay, let's have dinner together tonight. He kissed me and then went out. Watching his retreating figure, I let out a cold laugh. Dinner together tonight. I'm afraid that opportunity is gone. Today is the day I fight back. After Rieschen left, I immediately began executing my revenge plan. First, I called my best friend, Su Li. Su Li is a lawyer and was my college roommate who knows my situation well. Lily, I need your help. I got straight to the point. What's wrong? You don't sound like yourself. Susie keenly sensed something was off. Rieschen cheated on me. I need to draft divorce papers and file for asset preservation. There was a brief silence on the other end of the line. Are you sure about this? Absolutely certain. I have solid evidence. I briefly summarized the proof I'd gathered over the past few days. After listening, Su Li angrily said, that bastard. Don't worry. I'll definitely help you secure the best possible outcome. Thank you, Lily. No need to thank me. We're good sisters. By the way, when are you planning to confront them? This afternoon, I said. They're going to see the house. I'm going to give them a surprise. After hanging up the phone, I contacted Zhong Jian again. I need you to follow them this afternoon and document their entire house viewing process. No problem, send me the address. Then I began preparing for today's main event. I need to show up when Rieschen and Lena Wen are viewing the house and expose their tricks right to their faces. But before that, I have more important matters to attend to. I drove to the bank and transferred all the money from our joint account to my personal account. Half of that money was rightfully mine to begin with, and the other half was earned using my dowry. I have every right to protect my own assets. Then I went to Reese Shen's company. Xiao Chen, is President Shen in? I asked his assistant, Fang Jie. President Shen went out this morning, said he was meeting a client. Xiao Chen replied, "Oh, then I'll wait for him," I said, sitting down in his office. While Xiao Chen wasn't paying attention, I placed a small recording device on Reese Shen's desk. This was given to me by Zhong Jian. It can record remotely and also track locations. This way, even when Reese Shen isn't in the office, I can know where he is and what he's doing. At 2 p.m., I received a message from Zhong Jian. They're looking at a property. The address is a high-end apartment building downtown. I immediately drove over. This is a newly built upscale residential area with a great environment, and the housing prices aren't cheap either. After waiting at the entrance of the community for a while, I saw Reese Shen and Lena Wen walking out hand in hand. Lena Wen looked very excited, talking to Reese Shen about something as they walked. Reese Shen's expression was very tender, completely like a man deeply in love. I took a deep breath, got out of the car, and walked toward them. "Honey, what a coincidence to meet you here," I called out loudly. Upon hearing my voice, Reese Shen's face instantly turned deathly pale. Lena Wen was also stunned, looking at me nervously. "Dream, what are you doing here?" Reese Shen stammered. "I came to see a friend. I didn't expect to run into you." I walked up to them and said with a smile, "And who is this?" Reese Shen opened his mouth, unsure how to introduce her. Lena Wen reacted quickly. "Hello, Auntie. I'm a client of President Shen. We just finished viewing the property." Auntie, that term almost made me laugh out loud. I'm only 28, and she's calling me auntie. "Oh, so you're the client." I pretended to suddenly understand. "What a pretty young lady. You look like a college student. Thank you for the compliment, Auntie." Lena Wen blushed slightly. Reese Shen sat nearby feeling extremely uneasy, constantly giving Lena Wen meaningful looks. "Since you're here to see the apartment, have you found one you like?" I continued playing innocent. "I'm still considering." Reese Shen replied hesitantly, "I've heard this neighborhood is quite nice, though the prices are a bit steep. Are you planning to live here alone, young lady?" I asked Lena Wen. Lena Wen seemed flustered. "Why yes, I am, a young woman living in such a nice place. Your family must be quite well off, right?" Lena Wen's face turned even redder, unsure how to respond. Reese Shen finally couldn't hold back anymore. We have things to do. We'll head off first." "All right, then you two go ahead," I said with a smile. "By the way, honey, didn't you say you had a business trip? When are you leaving?" Tomorrow," Reese Shen said guiltily. "Let's have a good gathering tonight." I deliberately said it loudly. "I'll cook your favorite dishes." Lena Wen's expression visibly changed upon hearing this. Reese Shen also looked awkward. "Okay, sure." Watching their flustered reactions secretly pleased me. "Then I won't disturb you anymore. Goodbye." I waved my hand as I turned to leave. I heard Lena Wen whisper to Reese Shen, "Is she your wife?" I didn't catch Reese Shen's reply, but it definitely wasn't anything nice. I got back into the car and sent a message to Zhong Jian. "Did you get the shot? The entire process is being recorded, including your conversation." Zhong Jian replied, "Good. Now it's time to move to the next phase." I drove home and began preparing for tonight's grand performance. Since Reese Shen wants to act, I'll play along with him to the very end. This time, I'm going to show him what real acting is. At 6 in the evening, Reese Shen came home right on time. He seemed to be in a bad mood, his face dark and gloomy. "Honey, what's wrong? You don't look too happy," I asked with concern. "Nothing, just work stuff," he said dismissively. "Did the meeting with the client not go well this afternoon?" I deliberately brought up the afternoon's events. Reese Shen's body visibly stiffened. "It was fine. Just that client was particularly difficult. That young girl seemed quite easy to talk to," I said casually. "She just looked very young, like a student." "Is that so? I didn't notice." Reese Shen avoided my gaze. I didn't pursue the topic further and instead went to the kitchen to cook. At the dinner table, Reese Shen seemed distracted, constantly checking his phone. I knew he was texting Lena Wen, explaining what happened this afternoon. "Honey, Are you really going on a business trip tomorrow? I asked. Yes, it's arranged by the company, he said without looking up. Where to? Still Shenzhen. I nodded. Then be careful. The weather hasn't been good lately. Got it. He was still looking down at his phone. I walked behind him and pretended to care as I glanced at his phone screen. Sure enough, he was chatting with Lena when, don't worry about what happened today, I'll handle it, but I'm really concerned. Won't your wife suspect something? No, she's very simple-minded. She won't overthink it. Simple-minded. I sneered inwardly. He really underestimated me. After dinner, Rhys said he needed to go to the study to handle some work. I knew he was going to have a video chat with Lena when to comfort her about the shock she received today. I was watching TV in the living room, but actually listening in on his movements in the study. Sure enough, the sound of his video call with Lena Wen soon followed. Baby, I was so scared today. Lena Wen's voice sounded aggrieved. I'm sorry you had to go through that. Rhys voice was gentle, but you handled it well. She probably didn't suspect anything, but she asked so many questions. I didn't know how to answer them. It's okay, such coincidences won't happen again. We'll sign the contract tomorrow. And you can move in next month, really, but the rent is so expensive. Don't worry, I'll pay for it. For you, any amount is worth it. You're so good to me. But what about your wife? Don't worry, I'll handle it. At most, in another 6 months, I'll divorce her, then we can be together openly. 6 months. He's really calculated this quite shrewdly. 6 months is more than enough time for him to transfer all the assets. I tiptoed to the study door and peeked through the crack. Seeing Rhys grinning foolishly at his phone, it was an expression I had never seen on his face before. Not even when we first got married had he smiled like that. I took out my phone and recorded everything. The video call lasted over an hour, during which they exchanged many sweet nothings and even planned how to decorate their new home after moving in. Hearing all this, my heart completely turned cold. It turns out that in his heart, I was just a disposable tool he could discard anytime. 3 years of marriage meant so little in his eyes. In that case, don't blame me for being ruthless. After the video call ended, Rhys came out of the study, looking much more relaxed. Finished with work? I asked. Yeah, I can go on my business trip tomorrow without worries, he said. Then get some rest early. That night, Rhys slept soundly and even smiled a few times in his dreams, but I stayed awake all night, organizing all the evidence and making plans for the next day. Early the next morning, Rhys was about to leave again. Darling, I'm off. He gave me his routine peck on the cheek. Be careful on the road, I responded with my usual gentleness. As soon as he left, I immediately called Sue Lee. Lily, is the divorce agreement ready? Everything is ready, as per your request. All property division has been tilted in your favor. Additionally, the application for property preservation has already been submitted. Excellent. We can take action this afternoon. Then I contacted Zhongjian again. Final step. Are you ready? Standing by at any time. Zhongjian replied. I checked the time, 10 a.m., according to what I overheard last night. Rhys and Lena Wen agreed to sign the rental contract at 2 p.m. today, and I was going to give them a surprise they would never forget at that moment. I put on my prettiest dress and did my makeup meticulously. Since I'm going to confront the other woman head-on, I need to appear in my most perfect state. The final chapter of this war is about to begin. At 2 p.m. sharp, I arrived at the sales office of that high-end apartment building. Through the glass door, I saw Rhys and Lena Wen signing the contract with the sales manager. Lena Wen was wearing a white dress, looking youthful and beautiful, while Rhys appeared deeply affectionate, occasionally holding her hand. I took a deep breath and pushed the door open to walk in. Sir, Miss, congratulations on choosing our house. I said to the sales manager with a smile. I am the actual buyer of the property, and this is my husband, Rhys. The room fell silent in an instant. Rhys' face instantly turned deathly pale, and the pen in his hand fell onto the table. Lena Wen was also stunned, looking at me in bewilderment. The sales manager looked even more confused. What's going on here? Here's the thing. I calmly sat down. My husband wasn't telling the truth earlier. This apartment was rented using our marital joint property. According to the law, I have the right to know and participate in the decision-making. Rhys finally snapped back to reality. How did you know about this place? Why wouldn't I know? I retorted. Using my money to rent an apartment for your mistress, did you really think I shouldn't know? The moment the words mistress left my lips, the atmosphere instantly became tense and hostile. Lena Wen's face flushed crimson, and tears began to well up in her eyes. The sales manager realized this was a family dispute and wanted to leave. Maybe you should handle your family matters first. No need, I stopped him. The contract still needs to be signed, but the signatory will have to be changed. I took out the prepared documents from my bag. These are our joint bank statements and transfer records. Mr. Rhys has transferred 80,000 yuan to MS. Lena went over the past 3 months, all from our joint account. I placed the documents on the table. According to marital law, any unilateral disposal of joint property by one spouse is invalid. Therefore, this rental contract must be signed by me. Rhys' voice began to tremble. Listen to me. Let me explain. Explain, I sneered. How are you going to explain? Explain why you booked a room at the Shangri-La Hotel. Explain why you bought her an 800 yuan necklace. Or explain that passionate embrace during the jewelry store photo shoot. With every word I spoke, Rhys' face grew paler. Lena Wen had already started crying. Auntie, I didn't know. Don't call me auntie. I interrupted her. I'm only 28. And I don't have a daughter as old as you. Besides, stop pretending to be innocent. Weren't you having a great time video chatting with my husband last night? Lena Wen stared at Rhys in shock. You have surveillance at home. Only then did Rhys realize that I had known everything all along. How long have you known? He asked with difficulty. It all started when you dialed the wrong number 3 days ago. I said calmly. You meant to call your little lover. But you ended up calling me instead. That conversation between you two was truly sweet. Rhys completely collapsed into his chair. He finally understood that all my tenderness and consideration these past few days had been an act. Now let's get down to business, I continued. I can still rent this apartment to Miss Lena Wen. However, the rent will need to be recalculated. I pulled out another document. This is the rental contract redrafted by the lawyer. The monthly rent is 30,000, with 1 month's deposit and 12 months' rent paid in advance. Additionally, there's a penalty fee of 100,000 for breach of contract. 30,000, Lena Wen exclaimed. Didn't you say it was 8,000 before? 8,000 was the previous price, I said calmly. Now prices have risen, and considering your special relationship, we need to add a moral hazard fee. Rhys stood up angrily. Fang, don't go too far. Too much. I also stood up, using my money to support your mistress. Who do you think is being too much here? At that moment, footsteps were heard outside the door. Zhong Jian walked in with 2 people. Ms. Fang, these are the witnesses you requested. I know those 2 people. One is Rhys' college classmate, and the other is his colleague from work. They were both shocked when they saw the scene. Rhys, what's going on? His classmate asked. I answered before Rhys could. Rhys cheated and used our joint marital assets to rent an apartment for his mistress. Now, I'm going to settle this account with him in front of everyone. Rhys wanted to explain, but for a moment, he didn't know what to say. With all the facts laid bare, any explanation seemed feeble and inadequate. Rhys, how could you do such a thing? His colleague said in disbelief. Rhys stammered, unable to utter a complete sentence. Lena Wen completely broke down at this point, crying and saying, I didn't know he was a married man. He told me they were already divorced. Miss Lena Wen, your lying skills need some improvement. I took out my phone. Here's the recording of your video call last night. Listen for yourself to what you both said. I played one of the clips. But what about your wife? Don't worry, I'll handle it. At most in another 6 months, I'll divorce her. After the recording finished playing, the room fell completely silent. Lena Wen's lies were exposed beyond doubt. Now, let's discuss compensation. I continued. Mr. Rhys, the 80,000 yuan you transferred to MS. Lena Wen needs to be returned double. Additionally, you'll need to compensate for the emotional distress you've caused me. I took out the final document. This is the compensation agreement, totaling 500,000. You can choose to pay it all at once or in installments. Rieschen was completely stunned. 500,000. Where would I get that kind of money? No money, I sneered. Then you'll pay with your job. I'll inform all your company's clients about what happened today and let them know exactly what kind of person you are. You can't do this. Rieschen panicked. Why not? I retorted. Did you consider the consequences when you betrayed our marriage? At this moment, the sales manager timidly asked, so, is this apartment still for rent? I glanced at Lena when she was crying so hard her face was streaked with tears, all her youthful vitality from earlier completely gone. Rent it, I said, at the new price. If Miss Lena Wen can't afford it, then she should move out of Mr. Rieschen's life. Lena Wen looked at Rieschen in despair, but Rieschen was already overwhelmed by his own troubles. This farce was finally coming to an end. After leaving the sales office, Rieschen followed me the whole way, pleading incessantly, I was wrong, I truly know I was wrong. Please give me one more chance, I'll change. I walked towards my car without looking back. Change? What are you going to change? Your habit of cheating, or your habit of lying? I'll change everything. I'll change it all, he said urgently. As long as you don't divorce me, I'll agree to any condition. I stopped in my tracks and turned to look at him. Now you're scared. Did you consider my feelings when you and Lena Wen were planning the divorce and dividing the assets? Rieschen's face turned even paler. You heard everything. Not just heard, but recorded, I said calmly, including that part where you said I'm very naive and wouldn't think too much. Rieschen was utterly devastated, his legs giving way as he nearly collapsed to his knees. I was truly wrong. Those words were just nonsense, I blurted out in a moment of confusion. You're still the one I love most in my heart. Don't make me sick, I said with disgust. If you really loved me, you wouldn't have been fooling around behind my back for 3 months. At that moment, my phone rang. It was Su Li calling. The asset preservation has taken effect, and all accounts under his name have been frozen. Also, the divorce agreement is ready. When would you like to come and sign it? I'll go now, I said. After hanging up, I looked at Rieschen. Did you hear that? Your accounts have been frozen. If you want them unfrozen, pay back what you owe me first. But my account is frozen. How can I repay you? Rieschen said in panic. That's your problem, I said coldly. You can ask Lena Wen for it, borrow from your parents, or sell your shares. In any case, I want to see the money within a week. With that, I drove away. Through the rearview mirror, I saw Rieschen standing there, looking like a lost and dejected vagrant, not far away. Lena Wen was watching from a distance, her face filled with fear and despair. That despicable couple finally tasted the price of betrayal. I drove to Su Li's law firm. You were amazing today, Su Li exclaimed excitedly. I never knew you had such a tough side to you. Pushed to the limit, one can do anything, I said with a bitter smile. So what's the plan now? Are you really going to divorce? I nodded. Divorce is a must. I can't forgive this kind of betrayal for even a second. All right, I support you, Su Li said. With the current evidence, you can fight for most of the assets, plus compensation for emotional distress. We spent 2 hours refining the details of the divorce agreement to ensure my interests were maximized. During that time, Rieschen called me over a dozen times, but I hung up on each one. He also sent numerous messages, all pleading for forgiveness and apologizing, which I couldn't even be bothered to read. At 6 in the evening, I returned home. Rieschen was already waiting at the door, looking much more haggard. Can we talk? He pleaded. There's nothing to talk about, I said coldly. Either repay the money within a week or sign the divorce papers. I truly know I was wrong. Please give me another chance. He grabbed my hand. Haven't we been doing well these past 3 years? Why must we divorce over this one thing? I pushed his hand away. Doing well? You think deceiving me for 3 months, using my money to support your mistress, and secretly planning a divorce to transfer assets behind my back, that's what you call doing well? I was just confused for a moment, he explained. There are no real feelings between us. It was just a fleeting attraction. A fleeting attraction. I sneered, transferring 80,000 yuan to her, buying her a necklace, renting her an apartment that's all just a fleeting attraction. Rhyshan was left speechless by my questions. And one more thing, I continued, that passionate hug when you filmed the ad with her, that silly grin during your video calls, was that all just newness too? Don't say my name, it's disgusting. I cut him off. From today onward, we're strangers. Either pay back the money or get a divorce, there's no third option. With that, I pushed him aside and entered the house. Rhyshan wanted to follow in, but I shut the door on him. He knocked on the door for a long time and shouted for a while, but I turned a deaf ear. I sat in the living room, looking at our wedding photo on the wall, feeling a mix of emotions. 3 years of marriage, just like that, it's over. Saying I'm not hurt would be a lie, but what I feel more is anger and disappointment. I loved this man and gave up so much for him. Yet he betrayed me in the cruelest way. Since that's the case, don't blame me for being ruthless. In this war, I will win completely and utterly. In the following days, Rhyshan embarked on his debt repayment journey. First, he went to Lena Wen to ask for money, but Lena Wen was a student with modest family means and couldn't possibly come up with that much cash. The two had a huge argument over the money issue, ultimately ending on very bad terms. Then, Rhyshan went to borrow money from his parents, but upon learning about his infidelity, they were furious. Not only did they refuse to lend him money, but they also severely reprimanded him. His parents even took the initiative to call and apologize to me, saying they hadn't raised their son properly and that I had been wronged. In the end, Rhyshan had no choice but to consider selling his shares in the company. But after this news spread, his reputation in the company plummeted. Colleagues began to look at him differently, and clients started questioning his character, especially the project with that jewelry company. The client immediately cancelled the collaboration upon learning about his real relationship with the model. Rhyshan's career began to decline. As for me, I started a new life. I threw myself back into my work, picking up the projects I had previously set aside for the sake of my family. I also arranged a gathering with a few old friends to announce my impending divorce to them. My friends were all very supportive of my decision, unanimously agreeing that Rhyshan wasn't worth wasting my life on. A woman like you deserves a better man, my friend Xiaoyu said. You'll be happier without a scumbag like Rhyshan. That's right, take advantage of your youth to divorce and start fresh, another friend chimed in. With the support of my friends, I feel even more determined. Meanwhile, rumors about Rhyshan's infidelity began circulating online. Some busybody must have shared what happened at the sales office that day online, and someone even recorded a video. Although the faces in the video aren't clear, those in the know understand exactly what's going on. Rhyshan's image in his social circle has completely collapsed. His friends have all distanced themselves from him, afraid of being implicated. As for Lena Wen, things aren't going well for her either. Her classmates have all learned about her affair, and they gossip about her at school. Her parents also found out about this matter and made a special trip from their hometown to take her back. According to Zhong Jian's information, Lena Wen ultimately chose to take a leave of absence from school and return home. Rhyshan's so-called true love thus came to nothing. A week later, Rhyshan finally managed to gather the money. He sold his company shares to his partner at a low price and borrowed money from several friends, finally managing to scrape together 500,000. When he transferred the money into my account, I saw nothing but despair and unwillingness in his eyes. I've repaid the money, can we make up? He asked desperately as a last attempt. No, I firmly refused. The money is just the first step. Next, we'll proceed with the divorce. Please, don't beg me. Beg the judge, I said coldly. See you in court tomorrow at 10 a.m. The next day, we officially completed the divorce procedures at the courthouse. The entire process went smoothly because the evidence was irrefutable, leaving Rhyshan no room to contest the asset division. The house is mine, the car is mine, and most of the savings are mine too. Rhyshan only got a small portion of cash, barely enough to cover basic living expenses. When the judge declared the divorce final, I felt an unprecedented sense of relief. 3 years of marriage finally came to an end. As for Rhyshan, he lost everything completely. His career, family, and reputation were all ruined because of an affair. When I walked out of the courthouse, I saw Rieschen sitting on the steps, looking like a down-and-out beggar. He saw me and wanted to say something. But in the end, he said nothing, just watched me leave with despair in his eyes. I didn't pity him because he brought all this upon himself. Betraying a marriage comes with a price. And that price is what is paying now. 6 months later, I received unexpected news. Rieschen went bankrupt. His company went bankrupt after losing its major client, and he himself was sued in court due to debt issues. What's even more ironic is that Lena Wen didn't stay with him either. When he was down and out, Lena Wen chose a wealthy second-generation heir, completely abandoning Rieschen. It's said that when Rieschen heard the news, he broke down crying on the street. He finally understood what it means to reap what one sows. As for me, I began a brand new life. I redecorated the house and cleared out everything related to Rieschen. I also got a new hairstyle, bought new clothes, and completely transformed myself. I have achieved good results in my work. No longer distracted by household chores, I can fully devote myself to my career. Not long ago, I was promoted and received a salary increase. With my income doubling compared to before, my friends all say that my current state is much better than when I was married, and I radiate confidence. You look absolutely stunning now, Xiaoyu said with emotion. Leaving that scumbag was definitely the best decision you've ever made. I nodded with a smile. Yes, my life has become so much more wonderful without him. Recently, some friends have wanted to set me up. But I've politely declined all of them. After experiencing this betrayal, I don't want to enter into another romantic relationship for the time being. I want to first love myself well and manage my own life properly. As for love, let it be as fate decides. That night, I was organizing photos at home and came across a picture from our wedding. In the photo, Rieschen was smiling so brightly, as if I were the most important person in his life. Now, that smile seems so hypocritical. I picked up this photo and tore it to pieces without hesitation. Let bygones be bygones, I need to look forward. Just then, the phone rang. It was an unknown number. Hello, may I speak to Ms. Elfang? Yes, speaking. May I ask who's calling? I'm a reporter from Urban Women magazine. We heard about your recent unique marriage experience and would like to interview you to share your story with more female readers. After some thought, I agreed to the interview. Perhaps my experience can help other women who are suffering from betrayal, letting them know that betrayal isn't terrifying. What's truly frightening is lacking the courage to fight back. A week later, my story was published in a magazine under the headline, "Her Perfect Revenge Taught the Scumbag. Betrayal Comes at a Price." The article sparked a significant response, with many female readers leaving comments to share their similar experiences and thank me for giving them courage. One comment in particular left a deep impression on me. After reading your story, I decided I would no longer tolerate my husband's infidelity. Thank you for helping me realize that women can also be strong and make betrayers pay the price. Seeing these comments brings me great comfort. If my painful experience can help other women, then it has meaning. Later, I even received a special invitation. A well-known law firm invited me to serve as a legal consultant. Specializing in assisting women who have suffered marital betrayal, I accepted this invitation and embarked on my new career. In the process of helping others, I was also healing myself. Every time I saw those victimized women regain their confidence and happiness, I felt that my choice was the right one. As for Rieschen, I never heard from him again. Perhaps he started anew somewhere, or perhaps he's still paying the price for his betrayal. But in any case, it has nothing to do with me anymore. I've completely stepped out of that shadow and embraced my own sunshine. Now, I am stronger and more beautiful than ever before, because I understand that a woman's greatest charm lies not in dependence on a man, but in her independence and self-reliance, living for herself. This is the most important lesson I learned from that betrayal, and it's also what I want to tell all my female friends. Never underestimate your own strength, and never tolerate betrayal. You deserve a better life and have the ability to create a brighter future.